Cowboys and courage and celebration. That is rodeo, and this is the biggest one of them all. This is Cheyenne Frontier Days, and in its 80th consecutive year of rodeo excitement. So for the next hour, you'll have a front row seat at Frontier Park in the heart of Cheyenne, Wyoming, the town where it all began, way back when the Old West was not so old. And a good afternoon from Cheyenne, Wyoming. I'm Spencer Ross for Home Box Office Sports, along with Clem McSpadden. Clem, one of the most well-known rodeo announcers in the United States of America, along with a gentleman who operates the World Series of Rodeo in Oklahoma City, a former congressman from the state of Oklahoma, and a former candidate for governor. And Clem, happy to have you back with us at the daddy of them all, Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Of course, this year, $196,000 at stake, more than 750 contestants, the tops from the United States and Canada, and this year, an international flavor with some Australians. So this is always one of the great rodeos, one of the great happenings, I think, of the West, and I'm looking forward to a real good hour of action.
Cheyenne, Wyoming, a town that was founded in 1867, a town that was born due to the railroads. The Union Pacific came through, and that's how Cheyenne was born. And right now, we get set for Cheyenne Frontier Days here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and right now, our national anthem.
In the bull riding, all you have to do is stay on for 8 seconds. That sounds relatively simple. If you touch the bull with a free hand or if you buck down, there will be no score. Our judges score the men from 1 to 25 for the ride they make, and the bulls get the identical point spread for the bucking they do. The men weigh about 150, and the bulls around 1,700, and that's not a very fair matchup.
This is Mike Smith of Denver, Colorado, and he competes for Southern Colorado University.
So we'll see what the college cowboy that sent us so many top flight throws. This is a flat spinning bull and not a difficult bull to ride. And Mike Smith got tapped off with him beautifully. When we speak of a flat spin, in other words, the bull is not kicking as he spins. And a flat spinning bull is much easier to ride than one that kicks as he spins.
Mike stays on there for the 8 seconds.
As you see, the bull is spinning, not kicking too much as he spins. And Mike Smith very much in command of the situation. And we should have a score coming up of 63.
Cheyenne, Wyoming, the daddy of them all. This is Dick Candy of Tempe, Arizona.
And he's drawn a new bull that came from Canada that had a great reputation up there, but Candy has this one mastered. Almost. He made the whistle, but when the bull ducked back and went the other way, that's how a lot of bulls buck people off. You'll get tapped off if the bull's spinning to the left, and when he comes to the right, that's when he can lose a man. But Candy did extremely well, and we'll probably have a new leader.
Now this bull reportedly had only been ridden once out of 240 attempts. So to get a ride on him is pretty good. and a score of 67 for Dick Candy. This is Doug Brown.
The bull riders tell us in a small arena, this bull is known as a hooker. He likes to hook people, but in the large arena here at the Cheyenne Frontier Days, always stopping.
So Doug will get a score, and the score to beat is 67. Richard Candy, our leader.
Again, we have yet to see a bull have a good day. We've seen some bulls that are just bucking solidly, kind of average, as a matter of fact, but we'll see some better bulls in a few moments.
We got a good one coming up next. Marvin Shoulders from Henrietta, Oklahoma. And Marvin kind of likes the bull he's on today.
Well, as you recall, Spencer, we spoke with Marvin just before the performance. He has never tried to ride this bull, and he said if the bull bucks as he usually does and I can ride him, I might win first in the initial round of competition. Now, this bull is number 39, and he's been to the national finals both in 1974 and again in 1975. He's a big, strong, powerful bull. He's kind of unpredictable. Marvin didn't know which way he would go. And which way a bull spins is most important to a contestant. If a man rides with his left hand, he would prefer a bull spin to the left, into his hand. The bull spins to the right, the centrifugal force gets you, and you can go out pretty easily.
Aren't many ambidextrous bull riders, are there?
No, sir. Marvin Shoulders was on tilt. Now he gets back. He made a fine recovery. This is a hard-to-ride bull. And he made it. He made it.
Great ride by Marvin Shoulders. About 2 seconds into it, he looked like he was out of it, and then he recovered incredibly well. And records the top mark of the day, a 69 for Marvin Shoulders. So he takes the lead from Richard Candy. Roy Carter from Crockett, Texas now, and there's a lot that happens in that chute, of course.
This young man competes only in the bull riding event. He's one event specialist, and he's been around now. This is his 5th professional season. We see now the man getting ready. They, meaning the bull riders, will vary the tightness of the loose rope. Some prefer a much tighter rope than others. And when he scoots up on that rope, he'll be ready, providing the bull standing properly. And here is Roy Carter. Notice, Roy, how close he is on his rope. He hasn't gotten away from that rope a bit. He could ride that bull all day.
That was not a very tough bull for Roy Carter to ride, a bull that is 15 years of age.
But he was never in any trouble.
And Roy has been a winner here at Cheyenne. I don't believe he'll have an opportunity to win it on this particular bull. So our leader, Roy Carter, we watch him one more time, comes out with a score of 60.
So Carter well up on his rope, in no trouble at all. The whistle's blown, and he'll jump off right now. So that's our bull riding. First section of bull riding at the Cheyenne Frontier Days. Bareback riding is kind of like driving an automobile down Pikes Peak with no steering wheel or brakes. You have nothing around the horse except a rigging to which a handhold has been applied. You must spur the horse out of the chute over the point of the shoulders the first jump out. You must not touch the horse with the free hand or buck off during the 8-second ride. You're scored from 1 to 25 for the ride that you make as a contestant, and the horse gets the same point spread for the way he bucks.
And coming out of the chutes will be one of a dozen Australian cowboys competing in the United States this summer. A fellow named John Brearley, who hails from Melbourne, Australia. And he's up on a real tough horse in this bareback riding event. J.H. Necklace, who has been the bareback bronc of the year 4 times, and that is a record. So this is a tough one. The horse is 16 years of age, though. Does he slow down much, Clem?
No, it's a she, one of the great bucking mares that our sport's ever known, and she's raised 2 or 3 colts, and one of her colts shows a lot of bucking promise. I must say this is a very rude introduction to the States for one of Australia's finest bareback riders, John Brearley. The Australians have a professional association. I would have to say that they're a bit behind our contestants, and he's drawn a real tough horse to ride. But say, this kid is trying. Look at this. He is surprising me. And I'll bet that deep down, John Brearley is surprised and a very happy Australian right now.
That was a mighty tough horse. That horse most definitely is not slowed down. J.H. Necklace and Brearley stayed right with him.
Notice the spurring up front alongside the horse's neck or shoulders, which epitomizes bareback riding. We'll see a different spurring method in the saddle bronc riding. Brearley made an excellent ride on this great bucking mare Necklace.
That gets an excellent marking of 69 for John Brearley. Ronnie Christian of Huntsville, Texas, who operates his own rodeo equipment company, is next.
On a spinning horse, Christian was in trouble, righted himself, made one good recovery, and really Ronnie was out of shape on this horse. His score will probably reflect the fact he was out of shape and won't be marked too well by the judges. As we watch Ronnie Christian, the horse goes to the left. Christian way out of shape, makes one recovery, and notice as the horse is spinning, Christian's feet are not up forward spurring. He's back in the D ring. He tries to get those feet forward, almost falls off again, makes the second recovery.
The riding events at any rodeo here in Cheyenne or wherever it might be, of course, you have the saddle bronc riding, you have the Brahma bull riding, and you have the bareback riding, which is just a little bit different. How different? Clem McSpadden is downstairs now in the chute with Bob Edson, and let's find out.
Well, a pretty precarious position is in chute 2 at Old Cheyenne, the Frontier Days, and so many things go on in the chute that the average fan never has a chance to see. And it's the most interesting facet, I think, other than the actual action of the bareback riding. Now, here is the typical bareback rigging. Under the rigging, you see this foam rubber small pad, which is a protective device assuring humane treatment for the animals. Here you see the handhold in the rigging, which is about the size of a handhold on your suitcase that you have in the attic or up in the upstairs storeroom. Now, Bob Edson has his glove on his riding hand. He has quite a bit of some rosin here on his glove. As the horse is now cinched, in other words, the rigging is in place, the next step then is tightening the cinch so the rigging won't slip. Now Bob will insert his gloved riding hand in this rigging, and you see it's a pretty snug fit. It's sometimes we announcers like to say it's about a fourth of a size smaller than a man's hand. Pulls his fingers through, has his grip. Now as he scoots up on the rigging, he is almost ready to tell the chute man to open the gate. However, the last thing he'll do is put his feet forward and turn his toes out, because the first jump out of the chute, the rules plainly specify that a man must have his feet forward, toes turned out, and touching the horse in front of the point or the break of the horse's shoulders. If he fails to do this, it's a disqualification. So that's how a bareback riding starts at Cheyenne and other professional rodeos across the country.
And that's the way it's supposed to be done as a bareback rider. Of course, that's before the horse gets out of the chute. And another one is ready to hop out right now. And next up will be Mr. Rodeo himself, 6 times the all-around champion, Larry Mahan from Dallas, Texas. And Larry, of course, has promoted rodeo around the world. He's entered all 3 rodeo riding events here at Cheyenne. And quite an all-around person.
This man has done so much for our sport. He's got color, he's got charisma. He was the first man ever to qualify for the national finals in all 3 riding events the same year. And 6 times the world's champion all-around cowboy.
And he gets a pretty good ride. Larry Mahan, who is also an actor. He manufactures beautiful shirts and a lot of different things. And quite a gentleman and a favorite of the fans.
And it's a typical business-like ride by Mahan. Notice his spurring motion forward. And he's in perfect time with the horse. He's spurring forward every time the horse's front feet hit the ground.
And our best ride is 74 for Larry Mahan, so he takes the lead. Ben Calhoun of Stephenville, Texas is next. You can see the action in the chutes.
Calhoun, a great competitor both in bareback riding and bull riding. He's entered both those events here at the Frontier Days. Originally from Canyon City, Colorado, moved to Texas a couple of years ago. And again, you notice the man well up on his rigging, spurring forward.
And he will get a score, Ben Calhoun.
Watch the work of the pickup men. They are the most welcome sight that a contestant can see in this event, taking the men off the horses when the welcome 8-second whistle sounds. And here's Calhoun again. Notice that perfect rhythmic spurring is spurs touching the neck when the horse's front feet hit the ground.
And a score of 64. 6 times all-around champion Larry Mahan, and he's the winner here in Cheyenne at Frontier Days. A score of 74 in the bareback bronc riding contest.
Steer wrestling is a rough and, by the same token, a most scientific event when you consider the fact that the cattle that a man tries to throw down outweighs him about 4 times. It's doubly dangerous here at Cheyenne because of the length of the starter score, which is 30 feet, and the arena is about 700 feet long. You jump from the back of the horse to the horns of the steer, bring the steer to a stop, and then twist him down by hand. It sounds easy, but it can be dangerous here. Let's watch.
The total amount of money involved in the steer wrestling competition here in Cheyenne, over $28,000. And this gentleman has an opportunity to come home with the first prize. A former National Finals rodeo contestant, was a top bulldogger for many years. He has slowed down a bit now, but you cannot discount Jim Painter from McAlester, Oklahoma.
Jim has been a pro now for, I believe, either 17 or 18 years, and he's always competed just in this one event. Has suffered, among other things, a severely separated shoulder twice. You see the long start that the cattle get. Notice how Painter had to wait for his hazer. Now, here's the things that can happen in this long arena. He knocked this steer down. He did not twist him down. He winds up now on the wrong side and throws the steer anyway.
It's called a Houlihan, isn't it?
And Houlihan is right, and Painter throws a clod of Cheyenne dirt at the steer. We watch Jim Painter. Now, see, the hazer's not even in the picture. That's how long the score is. So Jim has to wait for the hazer. Now his feet are in the wrong place. The contestant's feet are. He knocks the steer down. And then in his zeal to get up and look at Painter dig, he winds up on the wrong side of the steer and has to throw him from the opposite side, which he does.
A lot of strength right there, Jim Painter. And Billy Fisher from Hampshire, Texas is next. And we await Painter's time, which was somewhere in the vicinity of 16-17 seconds. This is Billy Fisher.
Position a man has his feet on the ground is most important. And boy, listen, Billy Fisher got by this one in 8.6.
That's the unofficial time for Billy Fisher, 8.6, an excellent time.
And the fastest steer ever thrown here at the Cheyenne Frontier Days was 7.7. And it's like in golf. Kind of like in golf, this is a low 60s run right here. Billy Fisher jumping, jerking. As the steer comes around, the nose is up and the hold is applied. The only thing that could have happened, the steer could have fallen a little more quickly.
Jack O'Brien now from Sterling, Colorado. Another second-year pro.
So when these men jump, watch, if you will, a position of their feet. If a man's feet are behind him, it puts a dead weight on the steer's head, and that's when you have the somersault or the Houlihan. And they'll skid along and slide, keep the steer's left horn in their own left side, and jerk with the right arm, which changes the direction of the steer. And as they do so, the nose comes up for a split second.
There was another slow to react steer.
But when they get started, they're going full speed ahead. And here's a steer that weighs about 700 pounds. And this man is way out in front of the steer. He's lost the leverage needed, and he loses the steer.
Jack O'Brien had a super opportunity there to even better the time of Billy Fisher as he came down on that steer. But as you said, Clem, he got ahead of him a little, and just, it's leverage. If you can't get that leverage on that steer, you can't do it.
As we watch this man, Jack O'Brien, here's the jump. Notice the size of this steer. This is one of the biggest steers in the draw. And he is literally just running off with O'Brien. As O'Brien tries to stop him, he gets way out in front of the steer's head where you get no leverage at all. And that's the way you lose cattle.
Now we got a rookie coming up, Ray Barton from McAlester, Oklahoma. First year on the professional rodeo tour.
Barton from the same community of Jim Painter that we saw in action a moment ago. This part of Oklahoma has been a hotbed as far as steer wrestling production is concerned. The Combs brothers, the Duval brothers, and others, all great professional steer wrestlers. He's drawn a runaway and will have no chance to jump at this one. This arena is so wide. The arena here is as wide as it's wider, as a matter of fact, than many coliseums are in length, and so the steer has much maneuvering room.
R.G. Kekich from Sheridan, Wyoming is up next, a veteran cowboy who has come on strong this year, currently 6th in the standings.
Long jump by Kekich. And oh boy, we have just seen the arena record broken in the 79 previous Cheyenne Frontier Days events if he did not break the barrier, and I don't think he did. And R.G. Kekich has been an amazing 6 6/10 seconds. Boy, what a near perfect run that was. And this big guy's happy right now. We see now the record-shattering performance of this man. Long jump. That was his only bad place. As he turns the steer around, see the nose is there, and he quickly applies the front hold, and that's all she wrote.
And it breaks the record set by Jack Roddy back in 1968. The time, of course, of 7.7, a time of 6.6. And we have a new leader. Ray Mader now from Buffalo, Wyoming. Just his second season as a rodeo pro.
Mader waiting for this wide horn steer to cross the line. Now look at the steer veering off to the left, leaving Mader no running room against the rail. He's going on anyway, almost without a hazer. The hazer was 50 feet behind him.
Ray Mader,
this guy had all the try and the hustle in the world.
And a time of 15.4 for Ray Mader. Way off the record-setting performance that we have seen here of R.G. Kekich.
Everything looks good until the steer starts fading to the left right there, and that was a dangerous position for a steer wrestler to be in. Now Mader against the rail, and with his hazer many feet behind him, makes the jump anyway, and practically does this one solo. He really handles and uses this steer. The steer's trying to get away, and he has no chance. Mader, very strong young man.
Tony Wise of Thetford, Nebraska. And he just competes basically in his own area on the prairie circuit.
Tony wants to go to the national finals this year. He has been a very fine steer wrestler, but as you pointed out a moment ago, has stayed within a 2 or 3 state area. His big win this year was winning a little bit more than $3,000 at Houston's Astrodrome earlier. And he looks like a small linebacker. He's about 6'2" and weighs about 215 or 20. Very strong young man, a rancher in that great Sandhills grass country around Thetford, Nebraska.
And he's got a record-setting time to beat. R.G. Kekich with a 6.6.
Well, you never know. Gee, I didn't think we'd see a time in the steer wrestling of anything near 6.6. But the records are made to be broken. Look at the hazer hold that steer over for Tony Weiss. Hazer did a superb job that time, and Weiss has not drawn a good steer, but he uses him anyway.
And a time of 13 seconds even. He knew what he had to beat, and he came out quick and made the jump quickly, but just couldn't wrestle that steer down. So a time of 13 for Tony Weiss.
Well, to go behind the barrier in steer wrestling is the man whose record was just beaten. This is Jack Roddy of San Jose, California. Vice President of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, former world's champion. And up until a few minutes ago, had thrown the fastest steer ever thrown at Cheyenne, 7.7. And R.G. Kekich from right here in Wyoming lowered that to 6.6. Here's one of the finest steer wrestlers that we've had in our sport in the past 10 or 15 years. Big, long, tall, lanky guy. He's about 6'4", long arms. And you know right now he'd like to get that arena record back. Steer walks across the line. And here comes Roddy. Jumping smoothly, jerking. Way out in front of the steer. The steer took it away from him. Now Roddy has the hold this time.
The record that he set back in 1967. Broken this afternoon.
Roddy's starting what appears to be a good run. See him turn the steer around. Then right there he missed the steer's nose and got down in front of the steer.
John Ware now from Cheyenne, so a local resident who's a part-time rodeo cowboy.
And it's the dream of everybody who ever wants to compete at a rodeo, who's a native here, to do it in front of the home folks. Ooh, a long jump, and he's out in front of lost him. Look at him, he's going to get him again, and the crowd loves it. And I don't know who's throwing who. He gets the flag. If we get a slow-mo of this, I doubt I can describe it.
Might have broke the barrier there.
Yeah, he didn't get a good score out. Nothing happened right for John Ware except his 102% try. Now look, he's way out in front of the steer. As he goes down, so does the steer. Then John says, there he is. Let me get my hands on him again. And John, some way, he gets in bad shape again here. And the steer, in his zeal to walk over John and get away, kind of throws himself.
Another one of the competitors from Australia, Max Frame, touring the United States in this our bicentennial year.
One of the finest steer wrestlers in Australia. And about 10 years ago, several Aussies came over, didn't do too well, but this year's crop much better. They've improved a great deal. And here's a quick jump by this young man. There's the nose. He missed the nose.
Would have had a good shot at maybe second place.
Dog fell the steer. The steer falls wrong. Now Frame can come around to this side, but he elects to rethrow the steer. The Frame came oh so close. Gee, he just barely missed the steer's nose.
80th year here in Cheyenne, and this is the record, the best ever. R.G. Kekich with a time of 6.6, the winner of the steer wrestling competition. Brahma bull riding continues here at Frontier Days in Cheyenne, Wyoming, the second section of the Brahma bull competition. And Mike Killicrate from St. Francis, Kansas is our opening bull rider.
And again, we remember the scoring method from 1 to 25 for the ride the man makes, 1 to 25 for the way the bull bucks. And Mike Killicrate, a youngster now in his third professional season, has done extremely well in the bull riding this year and has no problems today.
And the time to beat, the score to beat, is a 69 by Marvin Shoulders, which was accomplished in the first section. David Beebe of Austin, Texas is next.
The names given the bulls here at the Cheyenne Frontier Days are named for members of the Cheyenne Committee and other residents, for the most part, of Cheyenne. Cowboys refer to Harry Voel's bulls only by their number. And I don't believe we've had a score flashed up on Mike Killicrate yet.
This is David Beebe from Austin, Texas. 3-year pro. It's on a new bull.
Well, you see what the centrifugal force can do when you get your hand caught in that handhold and the bull is still spinning and he just swings you out. These bulls are powerful. Here's David Beebe. The bull is spinning into his hand. Beebe now is off. Look at his hand held for a moment in the planted handhold, and off he goes and banged down. But he was lucky that he was thrown clear.
The Brahma bull riding has to be the toughest thing that happens out here at any rodeo here in Cheyenne or anywhere else in the United States of America. It is mighty tough. Those bulls can weigh up to 1,700 pounds. Would you like to get on one's back? Bob Etson's going to get on one now, and Clem down in the chute will tell us what he's going to be doing.
Well, I'm just as close to one of these things as I ever want to be. I guess the most dangerous event we have on the American sporting scene today is bull riding. And again, here's the action as it starts before we see it out in the arena. Instead of a rigging, as we use in bareback riding, a plaited loose rope is used. The handhold is plaited here in the center of the rope. The man inserts his gloved riding hand in the handhold, and then the rope is pulled. Now, the rider has already run his gloved riding hand up and down this portion of the rope that he's going to hold on to and warmed rosin that's been applied there. We can see the wrap now taken by the bull rider. He has the rope set where he wants it on this particular bull, and bull rider will vary the spot he puts a loose rope on a bull's back as to whether or not, from past records, he expects the bull to buck straight away or spin to the right or spin to the left. Then the last thing we do is scooting up on the loose rope, hoping for the best. There are 2 disqualifications, touching the bull with a free hand or, of course, bucking off. So we are ready for the bull riding.
Brett Gibbons now from Riverton, Wyoming. And this is the first time he's ever been at Cheyenne, a first-year member of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association.
Bucking bulls and bucking horses have individual characteristics like people do. Sometimes they have good days and sometimes they have bad days. According to the book on this bull, he can be good. And we'll see what we shall see in just a moment. And you know that this young man making his first appearance here at the Frontier Days is a little bit nervous right now. Brett Gibbons. Yeah, the bull's pretty good today. Look at him spin. Look at this man use his outside foot on the spin. And he's spinning away from this young man's hand. And that's difficult for a bull rider. It's much easier to ride one if he spins into your hand.
I believe he stayed up there for the 8 seconds.
We'll have a score up coming for young Brett Gibbons in a moment. See, the bull goes out about 3 jumps, then goes back into the spin. And we've got a new leader, a 72 marking for Brett Gibbons, 72.
Takes the lead from Marvin Shoulders, so Brett Gibbons is our leader. Claude Chapman now from Alvin, Texas.
And another man that campaigns mostly in the Southwest, and you saw probably Wick Peth on hands and knees right in front of the bull's head. And this has got to be the world's toughest way to make a living.
Being a cowboy or a clown?
Well, both. And a bull rider especially. And a
63 is the score for Claude Chapman.
Nothing to write home about, but pretty solid. 63 for Claude Chapman.
John Davis now from Homedale, Idaho.
Here's a fine young man. He's been to the finals 3 times. He's a fine team roper and calf roper as well, and comes from a fine rodeoing family up in that part of Idaho. And you'll remember we spoke with this man, John Davis, and Marvin Shoulders before the performance. And Marvin was kidding John Davis about this bull that he drew. This bull, in addition to bucking pretty well, is also known as a fighting bull, a hooking bull. And John didn't relish this bull too much.
He's hanging in there.
John will ride this one easy. He'll wait for a clown to take the bull away from his hands. See, the clown took the bull to the right so Davis could get off on the left. Those are little things that these bullfighters like Quail Dobbs, like Wick Peth, Wilbur Plogger, and others do.
John seemed to be a little shook up, holding onto his knee on the sidelines.
This man scores a 63, incidentally. Notice Wick Peth right in front of the bull's head right here.
Monty Taylor's next from Allison, Texas. The thing that impresses me about these bull riders, the camaraderie, and down in the pit prior to the start of competition today, everybody was asking everybody else about everybody else's bull, and everybody was giving legitimate answers.
Well, I don't think there's another sport where you have any better sportsmanship than this one, because who knows, the situation might be reversed at another rodeo in a week or two when someone else can help you, or vice versa. So they never misrepresent what a bull will do or what his record is, or a bucking horse. This young man, Monty Taylor, is one of 2 Taylor brothers from Allison, Texas, and he's a fine young man. And he's riding real well today. He was one of the major winners in this event at the Calgary Stampede recently. And he made it look easy. Wick Peth has a word or 2 of encouragement for this young man.
It's a nice way to dismount, too.
Yes, sir. This bull started a little bit stronger than he actually wound up. After he spun a couple of times, he then straightened out and might have weakened just a little bit. The first 2 or 3 seconds we thought would have a score in up in the 70s. I doubt we will have that.
'72.
Or 72, so he ties for the lead. And he could have scored 3 or 4, maybe 5 points higher if the bull had stayed in that spin.
So we got co-leaders now, Monty Taylor and Brent Gibbons with 72s in the bull riding. You hear the noise and the chutes.
Come on, Charlie. right now.
And Mark Sanchez comes out.
He is from Farmington, Mexico. In trouble and didn't quite make it. So unlike the previous bull, this bull got a little bit stronger as the 8-second ride lasted.
George Gibbs of Pueblo, Colorado, a top-ranked college rodeo competitor, was a Western Region champion and now in his 4th year in the Professional Rodeo Cowboy Association circuit. On a young bull, not sure what this one's going to do.
And the bull makes a 1 spin, then straightens out.
And a nice dismount there by George Gibbs. Nice way to do it if you can.
As we watch this former college cowboy, he's in good shape coming out of the chute. The bull spins just once, then straightens out, and Gibbs very much the master of the situation on this one. These pros do make it look easy.
Guy Barth up next from Skio, Oregon. The score for George Gibbs, a very good 67. Barth, also in the rodeo equipment business, had a pretty good bull.
There's the 8-second gun point.
And Guy Barth will get a score.
And Guy Barth, again, the master of this situation, tapped off beautifully. Spurs this bull almost like a bareback horse for a couple of jumps. And a man, when he sees he has a horse ridden or a bull ridden, he'll open up and spur a little bit more. 63 for him.
And now here's Larry Mahan, who earlier won the bareback bronc riding competition. On a great bull, too. They started spinning on him, too. Oops. Now, all the money won in bull riding competition last year here at Cheyenne was won right on this bull, number 66. And for Larry Mahan, a score of 62. It will not be good enough. Mac Higbee of Larkspur, Colorado. You talk about the courage of these cowboys. He suffered a badly broken leg back in 1975, and he's just coming back.
So a promising career, not cut short, but maybe just put on the detour for a while. Big, strong bull that throws the power to him that second time around and got him, I think. Let's see what the judges say. That was close, but I do not believe he made the whistle. Higbee in good shape. This was close. We'll have the judge's decision in a moment. See, Mac's in bad shape, but they rule he made it and scored a 60.
This is Leander Fry getting set in the chute from Eunice, Louisiana.
He went to the national finals last year and started at the high school level some 10 or 11 years back.
They call Leander Fry Scooby-Doo. Only 130 pounds, 5 feet 8 inches tall.
And here's the Cajun from deep in the heart of the Cajun country. Fine bull rider. These men just seem to float on top of the bull's back. They've got to have all the balance in the world. And that was Leander Fry.
Score of 57 for Leander Fry.
Go right on, Tom.
Wyoming resident from Torrington, J.J. McConnell. On a bull that has been tad mediocre. Now let's see what he does.
What do you say, Tom?
Now would you get into that chute and listen to that noise?
Well, he was much more than mediocre this afternoon. Knocks the clown down, looks for the fallen bull rider, and Wickpeth and Quail Dobbs in on top of the action to divert the bull's attention.
No score for McConnell. For Tom Luft of Sterling, Colorado, up on a veteran bull, and for Tom, his first visit here to the daddy of them all in Cheyenne Frontier Days. Don't know if he made that 8 seconds.
And I don't think the bull rider Tom Luff knows either, but we'll see what the judges say in a moment. Here's a bull that kind of lunges. He's not easy to ride. Doesn't have a lot of time, a lot of rhythm to him. Throws a little power to him in the front end. And he will make the whistle, according to the judges, and score 63.
So our winners are Brett Gibbons and Monty Taylor. Their score of 72, good enough for the co-championship here at Frontier Days in Cheyenne in Brahma bull riding.
Okay, in the first section of saddle bronc riding, 2 sections this afternoon. Remember that the men use saddles that are alike in every detail. Nothing around the head of the horse except a halter to which a buck rein has been attached. The man must spur the horses out the first jump out of the chute, may not buck off, lose a stirrup, or change hands on the buck rein. The men are scored from 1 to 25 for the ride they make, and the horses get the same point spread for the bucking they do.
And this is Bill Herzog of Denver, Colorado. Bill's younger brother Wes was the 1975 Saddle Bronc Rookie of the Year.
Here's a fine saddle bronc rider, Bill Herzog. He's drawn Harry Voel's horse called Jackson Hole. Notice the full stroking, starting a spurring stroke at the point of the horse's shoulder and concluding it at the cantle of the saddle.
And Bill may get himself a good score.
As we watch this horse come out, Herzog's feet well forward, spurring over the point of the horse's shoulders. That's qualifying out of the chute. Then you see the rhythmic full stroking motion. A perfect balance with his left hand on the buck rein. 63 for Herzog.
Monty Henson of Mesquite, Texas.
And old Hawkeye from Mesquite, Texas, the defending world's champion. Look at this rhythmic spurring motion. Look at him step off. That's his trademark. Just pulls the ripcord and bails out.
1975's world champion with an excellent ride and a good bucking horse named Darwin, who's been to the national finals several times, and we may get an excellent score here.
They compare this man to Casey
72.
Tibbs. 72, fine marking for him. As we said, they compare this man to Casey Tibbs with his effortlessly, it just looks easy the way he rides.
So 72, the score to beat. Wally Badgett from Ashland, Montana is up against a horse that made it to the national finals in 75, Screwdriver.
Good, snappy horse here. And again, in a moment, we'll see the pickup man instigating a smooth pickup of Wally Badgett. Gee, they're important in this event.
And a 62 for Wally Badgett.
Wally Badgett again spurring well. And we notice again the difference in the spurring method as compared to the bareback riding. Full stroking from the point of the horse's shoulder back to the cantle of the saddle.
A lot of people think our next cowboy is going to be a great one in time to come. Mike Smith from Denver, Colorado. One of his big problems, he is an extremely accident-prone young man, if there is such a thing, but he has suffered many injuries during his short career.
A lot of people think he has all the potential of championship material. And this afternoon, mounted on Elk Mountain.
Just a straightaway bucker, Elk Mountain, and no trouble in riding him for Mike Smith. The score to beat is 72. Monty Henson with an excellent ride. And a 63 for Mike Smith. We see him again. And actually there, Clem, correct me if I'm wrong, the reason that was only a 63, the horse brought him down.
Yeah, the man, I didn't see the judges' books, of course, but the man had to outmark the horse quite a bit.
Bobby Berger from Norman, Oklahoma is up next.
Bobby's having one of his great years in the saddle bronc riding this year, well up among the leaders behind Monty Henson and Doug Brown, but way up in the standings.
Okay.
Man with all the balance in the world. He weighs about 130 pounds, and you can't outstout a saddle bronc. Here's a fine saddle bronc ride by Bobby Berger,
who currently is in second place in saddle bronc riding. nationally and 8th in the all-around season standings. Bobby Berger from Norman, Oklahoma. And a 73 puts Bobby Berger into the lead. So a leader.
By a single point over the man he's trying to catch in the standings, the event leader and defending world champion Monty Henson.
Paul Mayo from Louisville, Texas. Excellent bareback rider also.
Bareback riding is thought to be his best event. It has been, but he is a good saddle bronc rider as well, and probably riding as well in this event this year as we've ever seen Paul Mayo ride. He's competed in bronc riding for many years, but bareback riding has always been his best one. Doug Brown, former world's champion bull rider and a qualifier in the finals, both in bull riding and in saddle bronc riding. We see Harry Vold, the producer of this year's Frontier Days, down in front. That's the gentleman in the white shirt, giving some assistance to Doug Brown. He's telling Denver bedtime stories now.
And a good ride by Doug Brown.
And we'll see what the judges thought of it.
He put his hand on the, didn't he touch?
No, I don't think so. I think he qualified. Notice his feet forward this first jump out of the chute. And we have incidentally a 67 marking for Doug Brown. I think when he put his hand on the swell of the saddle, it was after the whistle sounded. So the leader is Bobby Berger of Norman, Oklahoma, with a fine score of 73, one better than the defending world's champion Monty Henson with 72.
Calf roping is next here at Frontier Days in Cheyenne, Wyoming, the 80th annual Cheyenne, Wyoming Frontier Days, and quite a spectacle it is. It runs for about a week, and they filled up the place this afternoon, more than 20,000 on hand. Cliff McLaughlin will start it off here in the calf roping competition from Mission Hills, California. And he's the brother of an all-time great calf roper and steer roper, Don McLaughlin. But Cliff doesn't compete that much.
No, he doesn't. Don McLaughlin, of course, has won more calf and steer roping titles together than any other calf and steer roper. Dean Oliver's won more titles in calf roping than Don. But Cliff has all the potential in the world. And again, the 30-foot start or score. And sometimes these calves will just walk out, and then when they hear the hooves of the horse behind them, they'll really take off. And here's Cliff. Rope this one smoothly. He's off on the right. Will flank the calf down. Now, in his mouth, he has a tie rope. The loop is around the calf's front foot, 2 wraps and a half hitch. Away from this one.
And unofficially a time of 15 seconds flat, which is a pretty good performance for Cliff McLaughlin. Paul Turney from Rapid City, South Dakota, will take a shot at beating the time of 15 seconds of Cliff McLaughlin.
Now he's drawn a calf and left there running. Cliff's going to run this one halfway across the arena. Things are happening pretty fast, and if he can throw his hands up now, he's made a good run and a long one.
Super performance by Paul Tierney, and there you saw a calf who came out of there like man of war. We've had so many of them have just been hanging around and eventually crawling over that starting line.
And a new leader, 14 5/10 for Paul Tierney, 14-5.
Jim Hadley of Cody, Wyoming, who recently became a full-fledged professional rodeo cowboy. And up against the big boys here in Cheyenne.
He recently became a cowboy by winning $1,000 on his permit, which when you win your first 1,000, you're then eligible to become a full-fledged professional member. Jim Hadley. Look at this quarter horse fly to this calf and around the top of the head, but it bounced on. He was lucky to rope the calf. Calf kicks and strains, but this man gets by him pretty smoothly. 16-5 for Hadley.
And the incredible thing about it is that rope, as you mentioned, Clem, went over his head and then popped off and then came right back down.
Watch this, around the top of the head, popped up and came down. This is Hadley's day. Old Jim will have to circle this on the calendar. So Rex Cox from Calf Roping Country, Gale, Texas, will be next.
A beautiful day in Cheyenne, a town that was founded in 1867. Born with the railroads, the Union Pacific came west, and a boom town at that time, and now a city of 64,000.
This looks like a good calf to tie. I bet he doesn't kick. He just looks like he'll lay.
All right, you are, Clem McSpadden. 15.4 is the time for Rex Cox. Spencer Ross and Clem McSpadden from Frontier Days in Cheyenne.
Rex Cox could not get under the rope to flank the calf down, so he had to come down and leg the calf down, which is much slower. You lose a full second when you do that. See his right knee on the ground, jamming those hind legs across the front leg, and he's 15-4 on this one. This is Gary Ledford of Comanche, Oklahoma. He's qualified for the national finals about 8 or 9 times. Fine calf roper, 14-5, the time to beat. This man's got a chance to do it if he can hurry right now. And the clock is going, and Gary Ledford has taken the lead if the calf stays tied for 6 seconds. It'll be a long 6 seconds for Gary Ledford as he watches our judge in the field give this calf 6 seconds time in which to strain free, and Gary Ledford is our new leader with 12-7.
Well, heading into this final section, Paul Tierney was the leader. His lead did not hold up very long. Our first competitor, Mr. Ledford.
Gary Ledford ropes this one smoothly. Watch this horse stop, jerk the calf down, Ledford under the rope smoothly. He flanks in one motion, and that's so important to get the good run. And he just made no mistakes. That was a smooth, faultless run. 12-7 for Ledford.
Bill Riddle from Holiday, Texas. A gentleman who wins his share of prize monies in rodeo competition throughout the nation.
The horse, many followers of calf roping will tell you, is probably 2/3 of this event. And Bill Riddle just purchased this horse from another calf roper, Greg Winham, about 3 weeks ago, and gave, I think, around $5,000 for him. He likes the horse, and let's see if the horse fits Bill Riddle at Cheyenne.
Bill's got a shot.
Calf is kicking, though. But the hustling Bill Riddle moves into second place with 14-4. And so the winner of the calf roping at the Cheyenne Frontier Days with a great run of 12-7 is Gary Ledford of Comanche, Oklahoma.
Second section now of saddle bronc riding competition here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. In the first section, our leader was Bobby Berger, an excellent score of 73. So that's the score to beat. J.C. Bonine from Heischen, Montana. Runner-up to champions 3 different years. And he's been plagued by injuries lately, but he's still in the top 10 in the standings here in 1976. Score to beat, 73.
The horse that J.C. Bonine's drawn this afternoon is a fine bucking mare called Squaw Mary. And the bronc riders tell us that this can be a good draw. We've seen her buck only a couple of times. And quite frankly, I didn't remember the mare. I just remembered the name. Getting that left foot deep in the stirrup. Here he is. We might have a good score upcoming here.
You see the rhythm there of J.C. Bonine. And the score to beat is 73. Bobby Berger had it in the first section.
I would guess in the high 60s. Let's see what the judges say. A 68 for Bonine, 6'8".
Not good enough. Pete Marble from Battle Mountain, Nevada now gets set. As the wind begins to blow fiercely here in Cheyenne. Sun still shining, lovely day. Very dry day, and humidity very low.
Go right on, Pete. You ain't gonna stand there very long. That's wrong.
He's the youngest of 3 brothers who are all bronc riders.
This young man got his start at the high school level. We saw him compete just a year ago at the National Finals High School Rodeo at Gallup, New Mexico. Pete Marvel.
Well, as you like to say, Clem, he could have rode that horse all day.
Yes, sir. Marvel family, large ranchers out in the Battle Mountain, Nevada area. It's an arid grazing area, and they run cattle on several 100,000 acres. Pete Marvel, 18 years of age, and scores a relatively low 54. You notice the horse didn't have too good a day. Marvel spurred well, but it was a 54 for him.
Mark Sanchez from Farmington, New Mexico. He's just out of high school and competing in professional rodeo.
Farmington, New Mexico.
Mark hung up in the cattle a couple of jumps, and that could cost him some points. In other words, he wasn't getting his feet forward every time the horse's front feet hit the ground. Let's watch. His feet are supposed to be up front every time. Now here, he'll hang. See him hang right there in the cattle for one jump. That cost him some points.
And he's given a no score.
And apparently lost a stirrup, or as the Cowboys say, he blew a pedal.
There you see Mel Highland holding on, and he'll give the word to open up that chute. A Canadian, Ponoka, Alberta. Saddle bronc champion of the world back in 1972. Ooh, coming out strong.
And the present Canadian bareback riding champion and a former Canadian saddle bronc riding champion. He's drawn a dirty, hard-to-ride horse. A horse like this is so difficult to spur. He'll drop a shoulder, fade to the left, and the next jump will be over to the right. In other words, he's not following the straight and narrow. He is a hard horse to ride. That horse would have bucked off.
And a score of 74 for Mel Highland. So Mel Highland, with his 74, has taken the lead from Bobby Berger. And Mel Highland is our champion here at Frontier Days in Cheyenne, Wyoming in the saddle bronc riding competition. Well, back in 1867, the Union Pacific was laying its railroad. They got General Granville Dodge to survey the land. They said, let's put a town here. They named it after the Cheyenne Indians, a tribe of the Algonquins, and the town grew and grew. And 80 years ago, they started Frontier Days here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and it continues. And what a performance it was, and what a performance it continues to be. And Clem, we saw some great rodeo and great color and pageantry.
Well, I think the highlight of the performance was the 6'6" in the steer wrestling by R.G. Kekich that broke the existing arena record by Jack Roddy. We saw some fine calf roping. We saw Mel Highland, the Canadian champion and former world champion bronc rider, make a splendid ride. So it was a typical great Cheyenne performance.
And another good performance by Larry Mahan.
As usual.
And another great show, and we hope you did enjoy it. Cheyenne, Wyoming, right out here in a beautiful part of the United States of America. And this is our bicentennial year, and they're shooting off cannons in the background, and everybody's having themselves a good time, and we hope you did too. For Clem McSpadden, this is Spencer Ross saying so long from Frontier Days in Cheyenne, Wyoming for Home Box Office Sports.